Today we are going to Awad. He is a young owner of two restaurants.
We invested here somewhere around 2 million dirhams. The biggest problem we had during opening the restaurant was the construction. Be patient with the restaurant because the food industry is a very slow business in the sense that when you start the business, it takes some time for it to build up. The more people talk about your restaurant, the better business you can do.
One of the things that I mostly like is to talk with restaurants about their business. Because 15 years ago, when I was a beginner, when I launched my first restaurant, there was no internet and it was very hard to research some information about problems that restaurants have, about the steps of opening a restaurant, and about main tips of running this business. We have two ideas about our blog, about our YouTube channel. First of all, we just want to provide you some useful information about new IT technologies for restaurants that can make your restaurant better. And another one is about restaurant owners. The thing is that a lot of our clients are beginners. They are just opening their first restaurant. And the mission of our blog is to take experience from experienced restaurants and to bring it to you. And today we are going to Awad. He is a young owner of two restaurants. We will ask him some questions about how to launch a restaurant, what's the problems, how to run it, how to make profit, how to count food cost, how to use IT, and so on. So look this video to the end, because at the end of this video I will provide some useful information about you and about Awad's experience. So let's go! We arrived. The Cancios restaurant, it's Mexican kitchen, and now we are waiting for Mr. Awad, owner of this place, to talk with him. Hi, Awad.
Hi.
Thank you very much for your time.
No problem. Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
So today let's speak about your experience.
Okay.
First of all, tell me a couple of words about your history, how you decided to become a to own your restaurant and so on.
Well, so the restaurant we're in at the moment is the second branch. This was mentioned. We started with the restaurant business maybe 5 years ago, give or take. We started it at random, but at the time we didn't really know anything about restaurants. We sort of took it, learned step by step, and over time we learned and picked up that this is how we should run it.
When it was first restaurant?
We first opened our restaurant, I believe, sometime around 2014, late 2013, give or take.
So now you are 4 years as a restaurant?
Yeah, 4 to 5 years, yep.
Okay, and why are you Mexican?
It's mainly because of my personal influence. I've lived in the US for 3 years. I enjoy Mexican food, that's why.
What is your background? What was before restaurant?
Before restaurant, I'm a software engineer.
Software engineer?
Yes, I'm in IT.
One more restaurant from IT.
Yes, I am from IT.
So, if it's not secret, can you tell some numbers about this restaurant? How many investments, how many average check, revenue? If it's not secret, of course.
It's not too bad. We invested here somewhere around, for the Dubai brand, somewhere around 2 million dirhams.
2 million dirhams.
Yeah, that roughly translates to about 600,000 US. Our monthly sale depends on the month because here, obviously, you know that there's very hot summer season.
Yeah.
This is when business takes quite a bit of hit. Summertime is bad for business normally when it comes to restaurants, especially during Ramadan season. But over the winter time, this is when business starts to improve and get better.
So what's about monthly revenue?
Monthly revenue would average, say, about 50,000 US a month.
50,000 US a month. It's okay. And is it profitable in summer or not?
It is profitable in summer, but of course it's very, very minimal.
Yeah. And what's average check per guest?
Average check per guest is about, in dirhams, it's about 100 dirhams. And this is for a table of two.
Table of two. And what about food cost?
Food cost is normally about 30 to 35%, depending on the food. But for drinks, for example, we have it over to 700 to 800%. For desserts, it's somewhere around 800% as well.
Okay, and what about rent? Rent payment?
Rent payment is about 400,000 dirhams a year.
So you have, I think, something about 12 to 15% of profit of revenue.
In a month,
Yes.
give or take, yeah.
And how many time it takes from the opening to reach this profits?
For something like this, it took us somewhere around 6 months before we were known in the market, because we were known in the first city, in Ajman. This is when people, they know the brand, but it wasn't very big because Ajman is a very, very small city. The Dubai branch became famous, first of all, because of the area. It's a decent area. Plus, we had a lot of celebrities and we had a lot of famous people come to the restaurant to come and visit because they've heard about the interior, they've heard about the food, and this has helped us boost our sales over the months.
Is there a lot of Mexican restaurants in Dubai?
There are a few, yeah, but none of them are normally within our price range because we're around the lower pricing or mid pricing range.
So how you hacked that you was unknown first time? What was about marketing? What do you do to become famous?
Our marketing was more based around blogs, blogs and vlogs, social media. We weren't very much with newspaper advertisements. We didn't do any flyer distributions. Very rarely we did flyer distributions. What we did was mostly social media. We helped in events. So during events, they would have our banners or our videos playing. And maybe some events we would send out our people to give away flyers. These kind of things. Essentially, helped us with the marketing.
Okay, but now there are some guys working with menu on the street. Is it working? Is it working instrument?
It sort of depends on the time of the year, because on the summertime there is no need for me to put people outside because there is nobody outside because it's hot. Yeah, people would go straight inside, so sometimes you would see them in the back. But then now, because the weather is a bit cooler, people are starting to walk, people are starting to come by. This is when we start giving away.
So it's working, yes?
Yes.
Cool. What was the main problem in process of opening restaurant?
The biggest problem we had during opening the restaurant was the construction. We've had quite a bit of problems with the construction because here in Dubai it's very, very strict when it comes to the construction of anything actually. And then of course you have your regulations with the municipalities, with the health department. Plus of course contractor delays and all that. For example, we were supposed to be open. The construction period was supposed to take only about 1 month. It took us about 3 to 4 months before we actually finished the construction.
What's the main problem to give permissions, to take permissions from?
Permits was difficult before, but now I hear that they're making it easier with online applications and these kind of things. And of course, finding trustworthy contractors, because sometimes contractors are a bit.
Interesting. In Russia, it's the same. Maybe it's a worldwide problem of constructors.
Yeah, constructors are a bit problematic.
Yes. So it's all about inshallah. Yes. Inshallah will be ready.
Inshallah, and then nothing happens.
Okay. So you started a restaurant. It takes half year to reach good revenue, and so now, while it's routine operations and so on, what do you like this period? When everything is okay, everything is running.
Yes, of course, but during this period, you're trying to aim for a bit higher. Now you're trying to increase your revenue a bit more. You're trying to find ways to increase your revenue because stability is nice, but you cannot always stay stable.
Yes.
After some time, you're going to start coming down because people get bored of your food, or a new restaurant opens, another competitor comes in. All kinds of things. The market fluctuates very, very easy, which is why you should always try to expand and try to improve, see what else you can do to further increase your revenue.
Third-party companies about something like Zomato is helpful for you?
They are helpful as long as you know how to negotiate. because sometimes they try and give you deals that just do not make sense. Sometimes, I'm not talking about Zomato in particular. There's a lot of companies,
Yes.
a lot of food delivery services, a lot of like a one-stop shop for all restaurants. There's a lot of them in the market, and sometimes they give you deals that just do not make sense.
What percent of revenue comes from these companies in your restaurant?
If you're looking for delivery business, this is normally where you will find good delivery business on these kinds of sites, all of these sites. But if you're looking for dine-in, they're not very good. If you're looking for dine-in business, so it sort of depends on the kind of business that you have.
Okay.
We are more dine-in, so it didn't give us really much revenue.
You are trying to work here inside.
Yeah.
And what about food safety? We was with Amr yesterday in Dubai municipality, talked about food safety. How it works here? Is it strict or what do you think?
They are strict. They come in. They try to come in once a month at random. Not even once. Sometimes they come in 3 times in 1 week. It honestly
Three times a week?
Yeah, it depends. Sometimes it's once in a month. Sometimes it's 3 times a week. Sometimes it's once in 6 months. You never know. They just come in the door and they say.
What they're doing when they come?
When they come through the door, they ask you where is the PIC, which is basically the person in charge. Who is the person in charge? The person in charge is, for example, it cannot be me. Just because I'm the owner does not mean that I am the person in charge. The person in charge is certified, trained person in charge. He has a certificate of some kind, and this is who the municipality is going to look for. As soon as the municipality speaks to him, he will go and inspect the environment or the area, check the kitchen, check for sanitary problems, check the stock, everything. He will go through everything and give you a list of what needs to be fixed or if everything passes, and then at the end of it gives you a score.
The goal of the inspection is to make a fine or to cheat you or to help you to make you better?
There's a lot of inspectors. Honestly, most of them, they want to try and help you to improve your restaurant. They want to make sure that your restaurant, because it's serving clean and proper food to your customers. But then again, there are also some cases where some things do not make sense, but it's the rules, so you have to follow.
Did you hear something about food watch system of Dubai government? About
Yes, we are registered with Food Watch.
What you do in food watch?
I have to be honest, I do not know. I registered with Food Watch.
Nobody knows.
I registered with Food Watch, and that's it.
So you just know that you have food watch, yes?
Yeah, that's it.
Yes,
no idea.
the thing is that they are just launching it, and they told us yesterday that the restaurants will have to be to input temperature of refrigerators every day. Only this. Now we are launching IT office and hiring employers. And it was very big surprise for me that I put a job offer on website. At least it comes thousands of answers.
Yeah.
So in restaurant it's the same or more harder?
It's the same for any industry. As long as you post a job online, people will apply. But it doesn't necessarily mean that there are people that are related to your industry. Say, for example, you're posting for a manager. You will have people submitting driver resumes, you have people submitting cleaning staff resumes, you have people submitting CEO resumes. It just does not make sense. So these thousands and thousands and thousands of resumes that you receive, most of them is junk. 95% of it is junk.
Do you have a manager here or you manage it by yourself?
No, we have a manager.
What, if it's not secret, what's the salary of a good manager in a restaurant?
That sort of depends. There is no sort of salary bracket because it sort of depends on what you need them to do. Salaries in the market here ranges somewhere in between 5,000 dirhams to 8,000 dirhams for a manager, but again, it depends on the responsibilities.
It's fixed or they get percentage of profits or revenue?
It depends on the person.
What about IT? Can you tell us what you use in IT in your restaurant?
Okay, for our IT side, essentially what we use to run the restaurant is we have a POS system. With, of course, it has which checks our inventory, it checks our sales manager sales. It does compute our profits as well, but of course in a very limited manner. That POS is also, we extract the data from the POS and move it to an accounting software, which then of course does all your accounting. We also have software to manage our social media.
What kind of software? What's the name?
I honestly cannot remember the name at the moment. I believe
It gathers information from all of your pages and makes data and so on.
Yeah. It just it gathers the pages, information from all the pages, and gives you statistics. What are the users' comments? What are the latest trends? If somebody types, for example, hashtag Cancios restaurant, we know they typed in hashtag Cancios restaurant. These kind of things help us with that front. In terms of security, we have 24/7 CCTV cameras that I can view on my device anytime, anywhere.
As you told me earlier, accountant is outsourced.
Outsourced.
So finance outsourced, but you have soft for social media.
Yeah.
21st century.
Because social media we manage ourselves.
Yes.
We can, but
because it's your business.
Exactly, but accounting can be done by somebody else. As long as I see my numbers at the end of the month, I don't care who does it.
What about food cost control and so on? What's the main problems about it?
The problem that happens often is that, say you have a supplier, and the supplier comes to you with a product and saying, I sell 1 kilo of meat for 24 dirhams, for example. Tomorrow he would deliver the same product for 26 because his prices went up. And then the next day he comes in and delivers some for 30 dirhams, and the next day for 12 too. So these fluctuations in prices tend to become a problem because you cannot clearly define what is the 30% line and 35% of what you're trying to achieve. Or the way we do things is we have our base stock. So this is our stock. This stock can run for 1 day, no problems. Even if the restaurant is full 24 the whole day, we have no problem. The stock is for 1 day. That's how we do it. So we have one stock filled for 1 day. Depending on what was consumed on that day, you have your, of course, equivalent value in sale. So say, for example, your sale value today is 10,000 dirhams. That 10,000 dirhams, you get 30% of that. You have 3,000 dirhams. The head chef is only allowed to order 3,000 dirhams worth of stock to replenish the stock that was used on that day. And then on the weekends, he gets to do double because suppliers don't deliver on the weekend.
So you can't fix prices with suppliers, for example, for a month?
You can get fixed prices from certain suppliers, but those prices tend to be usually a bit higher than the market price, and it depends on your negotiations with your supplier.
Of course, you use the recipe and so on.
Yes, of course.
And make an inventory, took stock.
Yeah. We take regular stock takes, and of course these kind of things. Of course, audit the expenses that the head chef has been making. So at the end of the month, when we get our reports, you have your sale, you have your total food cost expenses, and then we go ahead and audit it. Why it is high? Why is it this low? Etc. If it was, for example, we try to keep it at strictly 30%, but if it goes over, say, 32, 33, that's fine. But if it goes over 35%, then we have a bit of a problem.
And what about tips in the restaurant?
That sort of depends because we've never had that case.
So you never meet it here?
No, we never needed it because, of course, we have 24/7 CCTV cameras. The cash from the cash register is deposited every day at the end of the night. At the end of the night, after the restaurant is closing, the supervisor or the manager in charge at the restaurant will take the money and deposit it to the bank in full, along with sending us a copy of the deposit slip and the report from the POS. And then when it comes to stealing of food in the kitchen, it's normally not
The thing when, for example, wait write a bill by hands and give it to guest and take money to himself.
We don't allow that. Normally, we have signs around the restaurant that says if you don't receive an official receipt, your food is free.
Okay.
That kind of thing. Everything has to be printed on the using the POS. Also, we have a rule in the kitchen that do not cook any food unless there's a bill that comes out from the POS.
You talked about social media, but do you have some loyalty program or something like this? Some discount for guests?
We do not have a loyalty program at the moment. We could, but it's not something that I've seen is necessary as of right now. What we do have is negotiations, for example, with companies. Say, this company has 50,000 employees, and as long as they bring their ID, they have a flat 10% or 15% discount. Those kind of things we do. But loyalty card, no.
As I told you earlier, some of our subscribers are the beginners, young restaurateurs that are going to open their first outlet, small cafe, and so on. Can you give some advice how to start, not to fail, and so on?
My biggest advice is be patient with the restaurant, because the food industry is a very slow business in the sense that when you start the business, it takes some time for it to build up. People, especially when your first 6 months, first 1 year even, people do not know who this brand is or what this brand does or what food do they serve. Is the food good? They don't know these things. So you have to give them some time to learn and to understand, okay, this brand, they serve good food, they serve good coffee, they serve good tea, whatever it is. So give it some time, slowly build up your market. The best marketing tool is word of mouth or cheap prices. The more people talk about your restaurant, the better business you can do.
And passion will help to move through this very hard period.
Yeah, patience is definitely going to help because you have to be patient. You're going to think that you're going to lose money, but you will lose more money if you close. So just continue, keep it running. It will get better.
So, and what's your plans for future?
As of right now, we are setting up we're looking into setting up a third branch, hopefully, by setting up a franchise. So we've set up a franchise program of sorts, and we're looking for potential franchisees.
So okay, talk.
So if anybody,
about what is your franchising about? What's the first payment? And tell the numbers.
Well, if you are interested and you want to franchise a restaurant, we are offering the franchise scheme wherever you may want it to be. The first payment, or rather the initial payment, is going to be about 150,000 dirhams. And then our royalty fees, I'm not sure if you understand the concept of royalty, but the concept of royalty is a percentage of the sale at the end of the month is only at 10%.
10%?
Yeah. And then we will supply you with all the food, we will supply you with the staff, we will train your staff. Everything is going to be ready to set up. You don't need to worry about any single thing. If you do want to call, we can talk and negotiate these kind of things.
So you now have some negotiations about it?
Yes. So this is always open for conversation. This is always open for discussion. Feel free to call and we can talk.
Okay, and what about me? So as I told you earlier, we launched here a business of restaurant automation. Can you give some advice to me how to scale up sales and so on? What do you think as a restaurateur about our business? What you have to do to make more clients, to make more money?
For software-based, I'll be honest, the biggest thing that the first thing a majority of the people in the market are looking for is pricing. A majority of your market is going to be small to medium businesses who do not need a lot of features. They need the basic, they need a POS system with an inventory system. Done. They don't need all kinds of other fidgeting, they don't need a lot of extra stuff. You can always make it, for example, make your software more modular. So when you say modular, I'm sure you understand certain features only added in if you pay for it or if you need it. This, I think, would be the best approach. Next thing also is convenience.
So it's all about service, yeah?
Yes. The service and, of course, competitiveness in the market. The UE market is very, very tough when it comes to the software business because of countries from Southeast Asia invading the market with very, very low-cost products. I'm sure you know about these. These are usually your biggest competitors. But I think as long as you provide decent services, your prices are competitive, you should be okay.
Okay, Ed, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
I think it was useful for all of us.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
I come to my lovely places, Le Meridian Hotel in Dubai Marina. I like to go here after work to summarize my daily task and so on. And let's summarize our interview. If you want to open a restaurant of Mexican kitchen, you will need 2 million dirhams of investment. You will have a lot of problems with constructors. The revenue will be 200,000 of dirhams. Food cost 35 per person. Rent, it will be something about 35 or 40,000 dirhams per month. And with salary or other expensive, you can get something about 15% of profit. So for revenue of 200,000, it will be 30,000 dirhams per month for profit. Not bad, I think. You can open this kind of restaurant by franchise, to buy franchise of Awad. He told about it, so I think it can be very nice. But of course, the main task for you is to select right place for it, and all will be successful. Thank you very much for your listening us. In our next video, we will show you more restaurants in Dubai, more good restaurateurs, and so on. Thank you very much. Bye bye.